Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. For over 144 years, we have been serving our military community to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces. As a director of partnership and member engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today's topic is service dogs and PTSD, or PTS as it's more commonly known now. I'm speaking with Veterans Moving Forward about the work they do to train and place service dogs with veterans with severe PTS. Dr. Gordon Sumner is the president and CEO of Veterans Moving Forward. He is a retired Army colonel, a Purple Heart and Bronze Star for Valor Medal recipient, and he is here to talk more about this. Outside of his incredible Army career, he also has a deep passion for helping veterans in need. Thank you so much, Dr. Sumner, for being here today.
Good morning, Sarah. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yes, and today is, or June, the month of June is PTS Awareness Month, so it's very fitting that we're having this conversation. I wanted to learn a little bit more about how you got connected to Veterans Moving Forward.
Well, I had just left the Obama administration and started my own consulting company dealing with helping nonprofits when I was approached by the two co-founders, retired Navy Commander Karen Jeffries and Bob Larson, who asked me if I could help them get the nonprofit started. And I loved what they had in mind about how we place our service dogs with veterans dealing with physical or mental challenges at no cost to the veteran, and we do them nationwide. And that's unique because a lot of the similar nonprofits had restrictions on how you could get a dog. So you had to have been wounded in combat, you had to have been a 9/11 veteran, you had to have been serving only in Afghanistan or Iraq, or even a particular military service. Anything outside of that, those organizations wouldn't be able to provide you a dog. We don't do that. Our veterans, you have to be honorably served, discharged, and that your primary care provider and your mental health primary care provider, if you're taking mental health, they write in documentation that they support your effort to get a service dog, and that's it.
That's it. As simple as that.
Simple as that.
I mean, it seems very fitting that everybody, right, should have the opportunity if they've served and they're needing help to be able to get that. So I think that's wonderful that you kind of saw the value in that and growing this organization like you have. What does the organization do to ensure that the service dog and the veteran are a good fit? What's that process?
Well, it's a very meticulous process. It's a 2-year training cycle. We get the dogs when they're 8-week puppies, 8-9 weeks, and we train them up to 24 months. And what we do is around that 18-month mark, that's where our head trainer starts to look at what Katie, her name's Katie Paulson, what she knows is in the pipeline for the veterans and what their particular needs are, and what our service dogs are demonstrating at that particular point in their training to see what fit might work out. And these veterans have also been interviewed through our medical review board. That's what makes us unique, is we have a medical review board of board certified psychiatrists, psychologists. We have a doctorate PhD who has a specialty in human behavior, works at Walter Reed. We have other medical technicians. We have veterans on the board. So they do a screening with these veterans in person to make sure that we understand their needs, and then we start to address those needs specifically. And that's what makes a service dog. A service dog, by the Americans with Disability Act, has to be trained to take care of a specific individual who has a very specific need or needs, and that's what makes that dog a service dog, because they address those specific requirements, such as dealing with PTS issues, mental health issues, mobility issues, etc.
Wow. So it really is a case-by-case basis. Every veteran is looked at as what their needs are, and then the service dog that would best fit to be able to help them with their needs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was telling somebody earlier this morning on the show that we're not Walmart with dogs on a shelf.
Yeah.
So you don't walk in as a veteran and say, I need a service dog, and I'll take the one on the right. It's a very meticulous process of identifying all those nuances, all those requirements, all those special needs, and making sure we do it. And that's why we have such a high success rate of over 90% with our service dogs.
Wow. Well, and for those who might not know or understand kind of what these service dogs are doing, how have you seen personally these service dogs help those with severe PTS?
Well, I'll give you a great example. We have a veteran down in Williamsburg who is not a Purple Heart Medal recipient, but he was working doing some IT work, website development for the Purple Heart chapter that's down in the Williamsburg area.
Mhm.
And so that commander, who I know very, very well, we've served together, as well as being in the military or the Purple Heart, convinced him to come see us because he was having some serious mental issues. He had already tried to commit suicide 3 times.
Yeah.
So we got him up to visit with Katie and I,
Mhm.
and we matched him up with a service dog. And to watch this transformation of this individual when he, one, didn't want to come, two, when he finally arrived, it took him a while to even park the car in front and then get out of the car to come into the training center.
Mhm.
But then within 30 minutes of sitting there with what we at the time hoped would be his service dog, Zamp, as we started to match him up just to see if the dog liked the veteran and the veteran, how he took to the dog, you could see this transformation in his behavior within that first 30 minutes. So fast forward to 6 to 8 months later, as they've been training with each other, working on their tasks, getting together to know each other, and then actually graduating and living now for about a year and a half, almost, well, 2 years together. He sends me a letter that says, "Hey, I just want you to know what impact Zamp has had on my life. I had a really tough year, had major surgeries." He sent pictures of him in the hospital down there, laying in the hospital bed with Zamp laying in the bed next to him. The nurses let Zamp stay in the room with him while he was in the hospital. He
Mhm.
lost his dad during the year, and he says, "I just want you to know that throughout all that rough time, I not once thought about suicide. Never
Mhm.
entered my mind, and the reason is because I have my battle buddy Zamp."
That's amazing. I mean, these animals are truly saving people's lives, and being the right fit for them and being a comfort to them. And so, what Veterans Moving Forward is doing is just that, right? Saving
That's
saving
right.
people.
Yep.
We were just recently talking at the AAFMAA annual meeting, actually, and you mentioned about seeing an increase in Vietnam veterans requesting a need for service dogs due to PTS. Could you elaborate a little bit more on that? Because I found it fascinating.
Well, I mean, that's it. We are now over 50 veterans on our wait list.
Mhm.
And what's happening is the majority of those veterans that are coming in the last year or so are Vietnam and first Desert Storm, Desert Shield veterans.
Mhm.
And as I mentioned when you and I were talking at the general membership meeting, I've always had this thought. Again, I'm not a psychiatrist and I'm absolutely no genius, but I just had this thought working with this organization over the last 12 years that there was going to come a time where people, as I watched their mental challenges, that those of my age group who came back, got busy, got married, started working, kind of blew off the country because the way majority of the Vietnam veterans were treated, just focused on our side, on ourselves and our families, got busy, 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 and all those boxes that held the bad stuff was pushed to the side and secured.
Mm.
Now we're retiring. The kids are grown. The house is empty. Um, Volunteer a little bit. The rest of the time, what are you doing? So that empty space is now allowing these Pandora boxes to creep back in and open up. And I think that's where we're seeing a lot of these veterans that are coming through realizing that, plus their families. A lot of families contact us and say, "Hey, I think dad or I think mom might could use a
Oh,
service dog." I mean, we're working with a veteran right now who's just like that. And I don't know if you can see him or not. Nope, probably not. But anyway, so the dog that I had with me at the meeting,
yes.
Vincent. So Vincent's laying here right behind me,
Oh.
still training him. So we're hoping that we'll be able to place him with a Vietnam veteran at the end of the month as a new companion emotional support dog.
Wow. And I don't know why, but I didn't really think about families reaching out as well to say, hey, mom or dad or, grandfather is having trouble. And I think this might be a way to help them. So how can veterans or even their family members who are needing kind of this help contact Veterans Moving Forward to see if they qualify for a dog and to start the process?
Well, to qualify, all you have to do is have served honorably.
Right.
We get that through your DD 214. And we have to have documentation from your primary care provider. And if you're in any kind of mental health therapy, that your mental health primary care provider, that they too submit documentation that they support your efforts to get a service dog. So once you've had that discussion and you know you're going to get that, you go to our website, which I'm sure you guys will list for us, but it's there you go.
Okay.
So at the website, it says apply, and the veteran fills that application. That's the initial stage, hits the send button, and then we start to work with the veterans. There's more application forms to be done. There's more documentations that we'll have to do. If you're familiar with adoption procedures,
Hmm.
there's house visits, financial checks, all that kind of stuff. Well, we do pretty much the same thing over the
Wow.
course of time, because we want to make sure that the veteran is stable, that they can take care of the dog. Because as I said, we place them all over the country, so we
Yeah.
have to feel good about where we're placing this animal in the environment to which they're going to be serving this veteran.
Absolutely. That's really important. What about for some of those out there maybe listening and saying, gosh, I would love to help support an animal, right? Because all of this can't be possible without funding, right? There's cost in training these animals, there's cost in caring for them, and in the amount of work that you all are doing to really make sure that the veteran is placed with the right service animal so that they can be set up for most success. For those looking to support veterans moving forward, how can they do that, or where can they do that?
Well, you can go to our website and donate. In fact, it's one of the first things that you can see when you go to our website.
Mhm.
To give you an idea of how much we rely on donations, there's no federal, state, or local government dollars for service dog programs. People
Mhm.
think that, oh, you're a veteran, you can go to the Department of Veterans Affairs. Nope, there is no service dog program within the VA for a veteran to go to get a service dog, regardless of whether it's a mental or physical challenge that they need help with. So we live by donations of individuals, corporations,
Mhm.
foundations, and we do apply for grants, and so we get money that way. Our cost averages $40,000 to $50,000 a dog.
Wow.
So this is not an inexpensive country club kind of nonprofit just to have
Mhm.
fun with. This is serious business. So we need serious people, serious businesses to step up. Let me give you a real quick example of how your listeners, how our members of AFMA can help. All
Yeah.
right. So I was speaking with a group a few days ago, another podcast, and I asked
Mhm.
him how many listeners does he have that are really true listeners, true believers in his podcast. He said about 750. I said, all right, so do this. Here's your call to action to you 750 true believers. Half of you today go to our website and donate $10 a month. A latte, one or two Starbucks lattes a month. Donate $10 a month. Put that aside for one done. The other half of you, 25% of you that's left, donate $50 a month. The
Mhm.
remaining 25 of you, 25%, donate $100 a month. Either you or your business do
Yeah.
that. So you got half doing 10, 25% doing 50, and another 25% doing 100. Just that small number doing that great of work will cover our monthly expenses.
Wow.
Pretty close to our monthly expenses. It's not a lot. I believe in the power of small numbers. So I
So,
know we have literally thousands of AFMA members. Just think if a small portion of our AFMA members went online today to our website and donated $10 a month, we could really do great things. It would be a game changer for what we do.
yeah, absolutely. And that's a great, call to action for our membership, because we do have tens of thousands of members. And, our membership is made up of service members, active duty, retired, reserve, their spouses, their children, and even grandchildren. So, collecting everybody in the power, right, of everyone together, just
Mhm.
contributing a little bit, can place these service dogs in the hands of veterans who need them and
Yep,
who's.
I know. And we have a lot of business leaders out there. And a lot of these major businesses I know donate to who I call the big guys.
Yeah.
That's USO, Gary Sinise, Wounded Warrior, with Mike doing a great job with Wounded Warrior program and project and all that. And I'm not saying don't donate, because I know these programs, love them. I know the guys and gals that lead these organizations. I served with them in the military, some of them. So I'm not asking you not to, but think they've got somewhere around 8 figures in the bank right now. So if
Yeah.
you want to make an impact and be a game changer for a program like ours, instead of donating $1 million to them this year, How about 800,000 and donate 200,000 to us? Or how about 500,000 going to them, donate 4 and send 100,000 to us? And if you do that a couple of times, you're already setting us up for success for 2024. And that together we can not only change these lives, but we'll be saving the lives of these veterans every day across the country.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dr. Sumner. Well, I thank you so much for being here today. And I thank you for what you're doing with veterans moving forward and the work that you are doing to place these service dogs with veterans and help their mental health, which is so important. So thank you for your work. Thank you for being here today and sharing about veterans moving forward and how those who might benefit from this can apply and see if they, can get on the wait list to see if they can get a dog, or those who might want to donate. So
Yep.
thanks again.
Thanks, Sarah. And like I said, we really appreciate the support from AAFMAA, the partnership that we have with AAFMAA. We appreciate everything that you and AAFMAA do for us on the sidelines, because as a group and as memberships, together, we're going to provide these deserving veterans that new leash on life.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Sarah Bumgardner, and that will wrap up our AAFMAA Live for today. If you would like more information about AAFMAA and financial readiness within the military community, of course, you can subscribe here at the QR code. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye, everybody.